Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 15th annual meeting of the Integrated Assessment Modeling Consortium. Thank you, everyone, for joining in person in this room at University of Maryland, College Park. And also for people online, thank you for joining remotely across different time zones. My name is Rina Cui. I'm the Assistant Research Director at the Center for Global Sustainability at UMD. Also Assistant Research Professor at the School of Public Policy. It is my great honor to chair the opening session of this meeting. And now for the opening session, we will hear from several speakers for their opening remarks. First, I'd like to welcome Professor Nate HULTMAN, founder and director of the Center for Global Sustainability at UMD. Nate, please.
Well, thank you, Rina, and good morning and welcome, everybody. It's great to have everybody here, as Rina said. Welcome to the 15th annual meeting of the Integrated Assessment Modeling Consortium. And thanks to everybody in the room for joining us in person here at the University of Maryland, and thanks to all those joining online. So my name is Nate HULTMAN, and I'm the director of the Center for Global Sustainability at the University of Maryland, and I, like Rina, also have a joint appointment with the Joint Global Change Research Institute here on campus. On behalf of the University of Maryland and CGS, we are genuinely delighted to welcome you all here in person and online for this timely and important conference. We at the Center for Global Sustainability are also honored to have the opportunity to be a core sponsor for this year's conference and to help welcome over 200 of you actually here in person at the University of Maryland. And as of last count, I believe 173 registered online. So it's a genuinely big group, and I think we're all delighted to be able to be together in this hybrid format, and your continued patience and work to make that hybrid format work is greatly appreciated. CGS was founded in 2016 in response to the need for additional thought leadership, analysis, and engagement to support the achievement of our global climate goals under the Paris Agreement. Through both research and policy engagement, we seek to change the way that governments and people envision and implement possibilities for ambitious action. To this end, we employ diverse methodologies, including integrated assessment modeling, to advance understanding in support of ambitious national and subnational climate strategies, fossil phase-out, energy innovation, finance, and other priorities globally and in diverse country contexts, including country programs in the United States, China, Indonesia, India, Brazil, and other major economies. We currently support about 40 researchers and students and work with a rich community of collaborators around the world, and I am delighted to see many in this room. So thanks for being there. The University of Maryland, more broadly, where we are resident today, is a land grant, sea grant, what we call R1 Public Research University, located 8 miles from the U.S. Capitol in Washington, D.C. The university was recently ranked 14th in the U.S. in the National Science Foundation's national rankings of all universities. It has an annual budget of $2.1 billion and administers approximately $1.2 billion in combined annual research awards. It has strengths in climate, energy, and environmental policy, environmental and earth sciences, climate and remote sensing, energy modeling, and computational and social sciences. If you haven't had a chance yet, I encourage you to walk through the Oak Line central part of campus, about 10 minutes walk east of here. A core part of the work that we do at CGS, and I know for many of you as well, is to work with our diverse science and policy communities at international, national, and subnational scales. It's for this reason that we are absolutely thrilled about the work that will be discussed here over the next few days. This is a moment when we can all share our best creative thinking, not only to inform better strategies, but also to support a larger set of actors across all of society, including states, provinces, cities, businesses, investors, communities of faith, tribal groups, universities, individuals, and much more, to better understand the science of action and how they can, through that understanding, better support just and equitable solutions to our world's greatest problems. So thanks to all of you for joining. You are all very welcome, and I know we are all looking forward to an exciting and fruitful set of sessions. I'm now happy to introduce our next speaker. We at CGS are delighted to have a strong partnership with one of the founding partners of the IAMC, the Joint Global Change Research Institute, which is part of the U.S. National Laboratory System run through the Department of Energy. In fact, the joint in JGCRI comes from spanning both the lab and the University of Maryland. As many of you know, the incredible team of researchers at JGCRI has been at the forefront of IAM development and application in a diverse set of scientific applications, helping enhance understanding and to improve decision-making worldwide. Unfortunately, the director of JGCRI, Fernando Morales-Wilhelm, is out sick today, but I am nevertheless delighted to pass the microphone over to the immediate past director and senior economist at JGCRI and joint appointee at the University of Maryland, Stephanie Waldhoff.
Great. Thanks, Nate, for the introduction. Obviously, I'm not Fernando, and I know he was looking forward to being here, but on behalf of all of my colleagues at Pacific Northwest National Laboratory, and especially the Joint Global Change Research Institute, I'm really delighted to welcome all of you to the 2022 IAMC annual meeting. As has already been mentioned, we have, I think, about 200 people in person, which is amazing, and another nearly that number online. It's been a really long road to getting here. We were supposed to host this meeting at the University of Maryland back in 2020. And after 2 years of being online, we're really, really excited to see all of you in person. And as Rena said, this is just an amazing, exciting meeting. So we're really glad you could all make it. And for those of who are online, we're also delighted you'll be able to participate that way. And then I do want to offer some thanks because an awful lot of people made this possible. Really, really want to thank all of our UMD colleagues, Nate Hultman, Rena Shui, Affy Deigler, and Shannon Kennedy for their huge efforts that they put into this meeting. And also a really special thanks to Alyssa Cummings, Monica Eberly, and Sylvia Bertolin for their huge efforts across many, many time zones. I think they're spanning 9 time zones, but they managed to really help make this possible. And finally, thanks to all the members of the IAMC Scientific Steering Committee, particularly Detlef VAN VUUREN for his exceptional organizational skills, without whom this meeting would not happen. And then next, I want to welcome John WEYANT. He probably needs no introduction in this group, but I will do it anyway. He's a professor at Stanford School of Management and Engineering and the Energy Science and Engineering at the Dorr School of Sustainability. And he is also the chair of the Scientific Steering Committee for the Integrated Assessment Modeling Consortium.
Thanks, Stephanie and Nate and Rena for those opening remarks. I'm really excited to be here. I'm just remembering just about 3 years ago, leaving Scuba Japan, seeing many of you there. I know those of you who haven't met me yet are dying to meet me, but my response to that, quoting the great American pop philosopher Halsey, is all I can say is, as soon as you meet me, you wish you never did. Meaning, I think in this context, you're likely to be asked to chair a session in a hybrid workshop, which is really, really hard, as you'll hear about many times, hopefully just in the hallways. So I'd like to go to my slides if they're queued up. So here I am again. I'd like to give, for those of you who are new, kind of a little bit of a couple of slide overview of the IMC, which a ragtag group of us started about 15 years ago. And for the returnees, kind of remind us what we're all about. So next slide. Great. Press the play button. That works. So broadly speaking, the 3 main aims of the IMC are to improve the science of integrated assessment modeling across all the disciplines and growing number of subdisciplines that it includes, to help the IMC coordinate with other like-minded global change communities, which started with the climate modeling community, then immediately went to impacts, adaptation, and vulnerability, and far beyond these days. And third, to help provide a point of contact and legitimization in interacting with other IAM communities of users, including the IPCC, Sustainable Finance Communities, et cetera. We have Jim Ski here, IPCC Work with Reach. We do have a memorandum of understanding with him regarding access to the works of the Integrated Assessment Modeling Consortium. Next slide.
You have it.
Oh. So the governance of the IAMC is kind of interesting. Jay Edmonds put forward in our Constitution 15 years ago. He's our Thomas Jefferson equivalent. The idea that most of the work of the IAMC, the actual work on the ground, would be done by Scientific Steering Committee, actually built around some of the aims, and I'll get to the current scientific working groups in a minute. There would be a steering committee that would kind of coordinate that process and also interface with an international advisory committee, which meets twice a year, mostly so far online as it's been come together. Here are the scientific working groups. We have them on data management and protocols, diagnostics, scenarios, interfacing with the finance community. And the recent one just approved this year, which we're really excited about, is the regional scenario process headed up by Roberto Schaefer and Shinichiro Fujimori. Thank you. I can't read the microprint. So they will meet in parallel for those groups on Thursday morning, and then you'll hear a report out in plenary in the right after at the end of the day on Thursday. Next slide. So the progress in the last year, which I'll try to summarize very briefly, is we have 3 new members of the Advisory Council: Leon Clark from Bezos Earth Institute, who's here; Naki Nakachinovic from now the University of Vienna, long time also IASA team leader; and Vicky Pollard from the European Commission. We have 3 new member institutions: the Australian National University, the National Renewable Energy Lab in the US, and the Korean Environment Institute. We have cooperative agreements, as I mentioned before, in place with IMC working groups, the IASA, et cetera. And the IMC also helps coordinate and warehouses the data, mostly through the IASA data repository and model retrieval platform. So don't miss our award ceremony at the end of the day on Thursday. We'll give out 4 awards: the new established last year Young Researcher Award, the Exceptional Contributions Award, the Lifetime Achievement Award, and then pending the results of our ongoing poster sessions here, I think we're going to do both an online and a in-person poster award also on Thursday. Check out the IMC workshop. The Secretariat has put a lot of effort into it. Here are the categories of resources available there. Plentiful, lots of information undergirding the agenda from today is also available there. We do want to remind you, as is our tradition, we have this kind of 1 minute, 1 slide rapid fire session on Thursday, where people who weren't able to talk in the program because they weren't quite ready or they didn't get selected to do a presentation or poster, to spend just a 1 minute, please send your 1 slide to Monica Eberly at the email address mentioned there. Hopefully that won't be more than 25. We get close to that because we only have 30 minutes for that session. The growth of the IMC has been phenomenal. Just as a benchmark, last time we were here, we actually did a IMC annual meeting back-to-back with an Energy Modeling Forum meeting. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, we actually used exactly half of this this ballroom for the plenary. I'm not sure which half, right or left, but we used about half of this. So it's really grown a lot. We now have 68 members. Remember, those are not individuals. Those are large modeling centers. So as I mentioned, we added 3 this year, now up to 68. 28 countries and now 5 continents, with Australia added to the previous 4. We have 1,427 subscribers here. Lots of people to thank anybody who was involved in figuring out what the heck we meant by a hybrid meeting, and even more challengingly, how to actually deliver one. Many, many thanks, starting with our core sponsor group, Nate Hultman, who you just heard from. We'd also like to acknowledge the other main sponsors. The Electric Power Research Institute. Steve Rose had a family emergency, is unable to be here. He has been proud to be a founding, EPRI is proud to be a founding member of the IAMC. He's been very impressed with the growth of the community, and he feels it has a continuing and probably expanded role to play in providing good scientific information to people making increasingly tough decisions in the years ahead. We'd also like to thank the Bezos Earth Fund. Leon Clark represents them here for their sponsorship, and the Climate Works Foundation. Seth, forgetting his name. Seth Monteith is actually here. As Stephanie had said, many thanks again to Detlef VAN VUUREN for somehow pulling this very complicated program together, even more complicated online than strictly in person. I'm sure he'll thank his program committee. And last but not least, the IAMC Secretariat in Venice with Monica Eberly, Sylvia Bertolini, and Ugazi, something, I can't read that. So thank you. And at this point, I'd like to turn it over to Detlef, who can tell you what to expect the next 3 days. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And on the slide of the people that were thanked for this meeting, obviously, for obvious reasons, John Wyant was missing, but we would like to thank you as well for leading the IMC already for such a long time. So my task here is a little bit more modest. I simply will go through the program. I hope. So a lot of statistics were already presented on the how many people are here. So in principle, we have around 360 people present at this meeting. There are 190 people in person here and 172 online. And the nice thing is that we actually have all continents represented. Unfortunately, from both Africa and Oceania, the participation is online, but I think it's for the first time that we have representations of all 5 continents at the meeting. So I wanted to quickly introduce you to the program for the next 3 days. And the first bit of the program has already been, which was the online poster session. We have another online poster session tomorrow at the end of the day. And then we will, in a few minutes, start with the plenary program. And the first session will be about informing climate policy through integrated assessment modeling. After that, we have a second session, which is about scenario analysis in an insecure world, as particularly speaking to all the events that happened in the last few years. The next thing that I would like to point out is that when we break for lunch, we'll make a photograph. We'll work from here. I'm not entirely sure where we will walk to, but I think that will be clear the moment that we break at that time. Then a big part of the conference are the parallel sessions, where lots of people from the community will be presenting their work. I think it's the core of the whole conference. And so they form most of the part of Wednesday, but they also will be on Thursday morning and this afternoon. And then in addition, we have the on-site poster session. It's scheduled at the same time as the reception. And so make clear the only way that you are allowed to go to the reception is also to pass through the poster session. Then on Thursday, after the parallel sessions, we start with meetings from the scientific working groups. And so we have activities going on in the scientific working groups, and the leaders of the scientific working groups would like to discuss with you the progress that has been made in the past year, but also the ideas for the coming years. Then we start, we go back to the plenary program. And the first thing that we will do is to look into the progress on community scenarios, particularly the SSPs, but we also look at scenario use in the last IPCC report and potentially also in coming reports. After the break, we start with a brief session where two people are asked to share their experience about COP27. And then we have a session specifically on just transitions. And then finally, we start to have a few wrap-up sessions. And one of them is this new community projects. That's already what John just announced, that if you have a community project where multiple teams collaborate, please inform us, and you are able to share it with us in a slide. Those presentations are allowed to be only a minute. We will have a timer here, and so we make sure that it fits. And then we have the concluding session, also already announced by John, with, among others, the awards. So this is going to be a very productive session, and it's mostly because of our presenters that will be presenting both in the plenary on the left, and the presenters in all kinds of parallel sessions. So for the parallel presentations, please realize that we have allocated 20 minutes for each presentation. And one way to use that is to use your maximum 15 minutes of presentation time to leave 5 minutes for discussions, for Q&A. Obviously, if you would present your presentation in 10 minutes, you have 10 minutes of discussion time. That might also be quite attractive, but maximum 15 minutes of presentation. After that, the chair is instructed to make sure that there is still some time for Q&A. You can bring a copy of your presentation in a thumb drive. That you need to do that before the session starts at the break. But alternatively, you can also send it by email to the email address that's indicated of Ivy. Then you can also upload your presentation on KikoChat, but that is only to share the presentation with participants. And there's some instructions how to do that. But you can also find that on the KikoChat. We will record the plenary and the oral sessions, and we will make the recordings available internally in the welcome room in the KikoChat. We will also, if allowed, and we will ask the presenters after this meeting to share the presentations on the IAMC YouTube channel, but that's only for the plenary sessions. Then for the posters, you were able to join the poster session online this morning, but there's also a poster gallery in KikoChat, so you can also see all the posters continuously there. Yeah, and so there can also be oral and poster presentation files uploaded into the KikoChat, as indicated also in the previous slide. Yeah, on the KikoChat, you also have the option to actually present some information. And so there's an example already given, and it's a way to engage. There are obviously here for people in present are many other options, and that is also one of the reasons why we have this annual meeting. And the coffee breaks, the lunches, and the receptions gives a lot of opportunity to do some network and engaging. So I'm really looking forward to 3 very nice days of this conference. We also can directly go into the next session, which is also chaired by Rina. So back to you.
Thank you for all the speakers with the really nice opening remarks. I think we're actually ahead of the schedule, which is amazing. I think also very helpful for Detlef to walk through the program. I think there are a lot of interesting sessions coming up in the 3 days. for many of us, maybe there will be hard decisions to be made across the parallel sessions. They're all sounds very interesting.